If you travel to Europe, Asia, or even parts of Canada, almost every house is brick, stone, or concrete. Yet in America, we build houses from wood. Literal wood. The same material that burns. The same material that rots. The same material that termites eat. So why do we do it? Why does an entire nation choose to build its homes from the least durable material when better options exist? The answer reveals everything about how America actually works. And it's not about durability. It's about money. Before we dive in, hit subscribe because at the end, I'm showing you the actual cost comparison. Wood versus brick houses, side by side. And the numbers will shock you. Plus, I'm revealing why brick is actually making a comeback in one surprising place. Let's go. This is a practical question that reveals something fundamental about American economics. Americans didn't choose wood because we love wood houses. We chose wood because wood makes economic sense. Builders want to maximize profit. Developers want to build fast. Banks want to finance projects quickly. The entire system is optimized for speed and cost, not longevity. Wood wins on both counts. But here's the real insight. We're not actually being irrational. We're being economically efficient. We're just optimizing for different things than European countries. Let me explain why. The price difference. Let's start with the obvious. Wood is cheaper than brick. Significantly cheaper. Building a 2,000 square foot house with wood frame and wood siding costs roughly $120 to $150 per square foot to construct. That's $240,000 to $300,000 total construction cost. Same house in brick? Add $30,000 to $50,000 to that total. That's a 15 to 25% increase. For the developer, that's enormous. That's the difference between making $20,000 profit and making $0 profit on a project. The labor cost reality. Brick requires skilled labor. You need experienced masons. You need time. A brick house takes longer to build. A wood frame house? Semi-skilled workers, standard framing techniques, faster turnaround. You can build a wood house in 4 to 5 months. Brick takes 6 to 7 months minimum. In construction, time is money. Every month you delay finishing is a month you're not paid. You're carrying costs. You're delaying your next project. For developers, wood is dramatically more efficient. The material cost gap. Brick is more expensive to source and transport. It's heavy. Transportation costs are real. Wood is lighter, easier to transport. Processing is simpler. A brick comes from a factory, requires quality control, standardization. Lumber comes from mills, is abundant in America, is fungible. The supply chain for wood is optimized. The supply chain for brick is not. In America, wood wins on cost at every stage of production and delivery. The financing advantage. Here's something people don't realize. Wood houses finance faster. Banks process loans quicker on wood frame houses because they're standard, predictable, and easy to assess. Brick houses? Lenders need to evaluate durability, maintenance costs, insurance implications. Wood houses are the standard. Faster approval means faster funding means faster construction. Wood wins again on economic efficiency. Historical context. When America was being built out 1850s through 1950s, we had vast forests, seemingly infinite timber. The country was transitioning from an agricultural economy to an industrial economy. We had the resources to build with wood. We literally had it everywhere. The Midwest had massive forests. The Pacific Northwest was untouched timberland. We weren't conserving, we were harvesting. Building with the most abundant resource made sense economically. The European difference. Europe went through centuries of deforestation before modern times. By the 1700s and 1800s, European countries faced timber shortages. They developed building traditions around stone and brick because those were the available materials. They built for permanence because they couldn't afford waste. America, by contrast, built for efficiency and speed because we had unlimited timber. Different resources led to different building traditions. The path dependency problem. Once you choose a building method, you're stuck with it. By 1900, America's entire construction industry, carpenters, framers, inspectors, building codes, insurance structures, was optimized for wood frame construction. Switching to brick would require retraining an entire industry. Changing building codes, changing insurance models, changing financing structures. The switching cost is enormous. We're not changing because the entire system is built around wood. The supply reality. Even today, America produces massive amounts of timber. We're not running out. Sustainable forestry practices ensure supply. We have the cheapest timber in the developed world. That competitive advantage is structural. We're not going to abandon it. Wood will remain cheaper than brick indefinitely because we have the resource base to keep it cheap. The development timeline. In real estate development, speed matters. You buy a lot. You want to build and sell or rent it quickly. You're carrying costs. Every month you're not generating revenue. A developer who can build a house in 4 months and sell it beats a developer who takes 6 months every single time. Wood frame construction is fast. You frame quickly. You can work in parallel, electrical, plumbing, HVAC while framing. Brick is sequential. You lay brick. You wait for mortar to cure. You can't do much in parallel. The economic incentive. Let's say a developer is building 100 houses. Wood frame approach, 15 months to build the first 100. Brick approach, 20 months. In that extra 5 months, you could have started another project, sold another batch, generated another $2 million in revenue. That's enormous. That 5-month difference compounds across an entire career. A developer who specializes in wood frame can build more houses, generate more profit, scale faster. The financing pressure. Banks and investors want returns quickly. They're not interested in funding a developer who takes 20 months to return a project. They want the quick turnaround. They want the capital back so they can deploy it to the next project. Wood frame construction enables that. It's aligned with how modern finance works. Brick construction is aligned with permanence. Modern finance cares about returns, not permanence. The market efficiency. Supply and demand for housing means we need to build fast. Demand is constant. We're always short on housing supply. We need to build more, faster. Wood frame construction enables that. If we switch to brick, we'd build slower, supply would be even shorter, prices would be even higher. We chose wood because it enables us to meet housing demand efficiently. It's actually the rational choice given market conditions. The durability question. People assume brick houses last longer. That's not actually true. A well-maintained wood frame house lasts indefinitely. A poorly maintained wood frame house falls apart. A brick house with no maintenance crumbles equally fast. The difference isn't the material. It's the maintenance. A 100-year-old wooden house that's been maintained is perfectly fine. A 50-year-old brick house that's been neglected is a disaster. The actual failure points. Brick is excellent for exterior walls, but houses fail at the roof, foundation, plumbing, and electrical systems. These are identical in brick and wood houses. Your brick house has a wood roof. It has a concrete foundation. The plumbing fails the same way. The electrical system ages the same way. Brick is 5 to 10% of the house cost. The failures come from the other 90%. Switching exterior material doesn't meaningfully improve durability. The maintenance reality. Brick requires maintenance too. Mortar deteriorates. You need repointing every 20 to 30 years. Brick can crack. You need replacement bricks. Water penetration is common in old brick buildings. Brick isn't maintenance-free. The difference is that wood is more visibly maintenance-demanding. It needs painting every 10 to 15 years. It's obvious. Brick deterioration is slower, more hidden, equally expensive long-term. We just perceive brick as lower maintenance when it's not really. The insurance reality. Insurance companies don't give meaningful discounts for brick construction. If durability was genuinely superior, insurance would be cheaper. It's not. Slightly cheaper, maybe 5 to 10%. Not enough to justify the 15 to 25% construction cost premium. Insurance companies price risk based on data. They've concluded that brick doesn't reduce risk enough to justify the premium cost. That tells you durability isn't actually the issue. The real advantage. Wood frame construction actually has legitimate advantages. It's flexible. Earthquakes? Wood frame buildings flex and survive. Rigid brick buildings crack. Building in a seismic zone? Wood is superior. Extreme weather? Wood handles wind and storms better than brick. In much of America, wood is actually superior from a disaster resilience perspective. That's rarely mentioned, but it's genuinely important. The code advantage. American building codes are optimized for wood frame construction. Every inspector is trained on wood frame houses. Every building department has standard procedures for wood. You change to brick and you're running into regulatory complications. Inspectors aren't as familiar. Codes are less standardized. It becomes bureaucratic friction. Developers hate friction. Friction delays projects and costs money. The inspection process. A wood frame house passes inspection faster because it's standard. Everyone knows the checklist. A brick house? Inspectors need to verify brick quality, mortar standards, structural specifications. It takes longer. Each delay costs money. Developers optimize for inspection speed. Wood wins. This isn't intentional bias. It's just the system that evolved. But the result is that wood is easier to develop. The institutional inertia. Changing building codes takes years. You need engineering review, committee meetings, industry input. Nobody is pushing to change codes to favor brick because the wood industry is powerful and has no incentive to change. The brick industry is smaller and fragmented. Shifting regulatory structure requires political will. It doesn't exist. We're locked into wood-favorable regulations because of inertia. The lending standards. Banks have lending criteria for wood frame houses. Appraisers know how to value them. Title insurance companies understand the risks. You try to get a brick house financed, and suddenly you hit complications. Appraisers struggle to comp it. Title insurance rates might be different. Lenders need different underwriting. It's friction again. Every complication costs time and money. Developers avoid complications. The American building tradition. By the early 1900s, American housing was defined by wood frame construction. It became the cultural norm. When immigrants arrived and built communities, they built what was standard. Wood. When suburbs expanded in the 1950s, it was wood frame. When we built post-war housing, it was wood. Generations of Americans grew up in wood frame houses. It's culturally normal. Changing cultural norms takes decades or centuries. The skill base. America developed an enormous skilled trades base around wood frame carpentry. We have millions of framers, carpenters, and construction workers trained on wood. We have a deep bench of expertise. Brick masonry is a specialized skill. We don't have sufficient trained masons to switch an entire nation to brick construction. We'd need 10 to 20 years of training programs to shift the workforce. That's not happening. The consumer preference. Americans are comfortable with wood frame houses. We know how they work. We buy them. We renovate them. We know the costs. Switching to brick would require consumer education. People fear the unknown. You tell someone their new house is brick instead of wood, and they wonder if it's safe. They worry about foundation and earthquakes. They want traditional wood. Consumer preference locks us in. The economic network effects. The entire housing ecosystem is built around wood. Real estate agents know wood frame values. Appraisers understand wood frame markets. Insurance companies price wood frame risk. Inspection systems support wood frame standards. You can't change one thing without changing everything. The network effects lock us into wood construction indefinitely. The climate consideration. Brick is excellent in stable, dry climates like the Mediterranean. It's less ideal in America's climate zones. We have extreme cold winters where water infiltration followed by freeze-thaw cycles damages brick. We have hot, humid summers where moisture penetrates brick and causes problems. Wood frame construction with proper weather barriers handles temperature swings better. In harsh climates, wood is actually superior. The moisture management. American homes deal with humidity, both interior from living spaces and exterior from weather. Wood frame construction with air gaps allows moisture to escape. Brick can trap moisture between interior and exterior. Moisture problems lead to mold, decay, structural issues. Proper wood frame construction with ventilation is actually superior in humid climates. Modern understanding of building science favors wood frame in much of America. The seismic reality. In earthquake zones, California, Pacific Northwest, wood frame construction performs better than brick. Wood is flexible. Brick is rigid and cracks under stress. After earthquakes, brick buildings are often condemned while wood frame buildings survive. This isn't theoretical. This is earthquake engineering data. In much of America, wood is the superior choice from a disaster resilience perspective. The sustainability question. Modern timber forestry is sustainable. We harvest responsibly and replant. Brick requires mining clay, transportation, kiln firing, which uses energy. Life cycle analysis shows wood frame construction is often more sustainable than brick when accounting for embodied energy and carbon. This doesn't get discussed because we assume brick is more permanent equals more sustainable. It's not necessarily true. The system is working as designed. America optimized its housing system for efficiency, speed, and affordability. We wanted to house people quickly and cheaply. Wood frame construction achieved that. We have more housing, more homeownership, faster construction than countries that use brick. The system worked. It optimized for the right variables, given what we needed. Rapid suburban expansion, housing accessibility, quick turnaround. The developer incentive structure. Developers make money by building fast and cheap. They don't make money by building for permanence. If developers profited from durability, they choose durable materials. They don't. The incentive structure is speed and cost. Wood optimizes both. Until the incentive structure changes, developers will choose wood. Banks will finance wood. Codes will favor wood. The system is locked in. The market efficiency. Markets work. If brick was genuinely better value, developers would choose it. They don't because the math doesn't work. Brick costs more upfront for minimal additional benefit. From a pure economic perspective, wood frame construction is more efficient. It's not a mistake. It's optimization. America chose efficiency over permanence, and that's a rational choice given our economic system. The trade-off reality. We chose cheaper, faster housing over more durable housing. That's not evil. That's a choice that had real benefits: broader homeownership, faster development, more affordable housing. The cost is that houses last 50 to 80 years instead of 150+ years. That's a trade-off we collectively made, probably unknowingly. We're not inherently irrational. We optimized for different variables than Europe did. The high-end market. Interestingly, brick is making a comeback in one specific segment: high-end custom homes and luxury developments. Why? Because wealthy buyers want permanence. They're not optimizing for speed or low cost. They want their $2 million home to last 200 years. They choose brick. Developers building $1 million plus homes use brick because the buyer values longevity. The buyer willingness to pay justifies the extra cost. The urban trend. In urban mixed-use development, brick is back. Why? Because urban developments are permanent. They're ground floor retail with apartments above. They're designed for 50+ year occupancy. The investment justifies durability. Suburban single-family homes are often occupied for 7 to 10 years before resale. Permanence doesn't matter. Urban permanence matters more. Different context, different material choice. The regional shift. In some regions, brick is becoming standard again. Certain parts of Texas, the Northeast, wealthy suburban enclaves. Why? Because regional demand shifted. Wealthy buyers wanted brick. Building codes accommodated it. Regional traditions can shift if incentives align. But nationwide, wood will remain dominant because the economics favor it for the majority of construction. Why this matters. Understanding why American houses are wood frame teaches you something important about economics. Systems optimize for what they incentivize. We incentivize speed and low cost. Wood wins. Europe incentivized permanence. Brick won. Neither is wrong. Both are rational responses to different priorities. The question isn't, is wood durable enough? It's what are we actually optimizing for? The real answer. American houses are made of wood because wood makes economic sense for developers and the overall housing system. Not because it's superior. Not because we didn't know better. Because it's cheaper, faster, and easier to finance. The entire ecosystem, builders, banks, inspectors, codes, workforce, is optimized around wood. Changing would require system-wide transformation. It won't happen unless incentives change. Subscribe right now because next week I'm breaking down what actually makes a house durable. Spoiler, it's not the exterior material, it's the systems inside. And I'm showing you exactly what to look for when buying a house, whether it's wood or brick. Comment below. Do you live in a wood or brick house? What's your experience? I'm reading every comment and might feature your answer. Hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.